Simple yet effective. Scare Me is a new Shudder original written and directed by Josh Rubin, who also stars as one of the main characters, Fred. And there's Aya Cash, who plays the other main character, Fanny. And these are two horror writers that are staying in remote cabins in a remote area, because where else would remote cabins be? And one morning on a jog, they happen to meet. They find out that they're both horror writers. During a power outage later, Fred's trying to do some writing. Fanny shows up and says, "Hey, you're a horror writer. I'm a horror writer. Let's pass the time since the power is out at both of our places. Share some scary stories and try to scare each other." She's really good with details. She's written a fairly successful book, and Fred's kind of down on his luck. He's got ideas, but he's trying to piece his life back together, and we get to find out a little bit more as things go on that one of these two may have some dark intentions, and then things really start to go south. Spoilers will come up here in a little bit, but I was interested to see this because I heard a lot about it. And as far as a cheap, effective movie, it's not cheap in a bad way. It's low budget, but it doesn't play down to its source material. It's two people in a cabin sharing stories, and there's some simple yet, pretty damn good special effects. And it, really makes the most of its low budget while being effective with its comedic timing, and also some chills. Now, it's not really scary, and the comedy at times misses a little bit, I will say that, but as far as two lead actors, Josh is a really good director, writer, and star, and Aya Cash is fucking tremendous. She is on fire in this goddamn movie, and there's really only one other character that gets any kind of serious screen time. There's one that's kind of bookended, in the opening and closing scene, but it's a very, very low, very small cast. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. And Josh and Aya really do a good job anchoring this movie as, two writers of varying talents. And yeah, it's certainly something a lot more effective than I expected. And the first two stories I'm going to tell you, Fred tells one about a werewolf that kills a boy's parents. And the boy goes out for revenge, and, Fanny's trying to encourage him and say, "Hey, give me more details." He gets more into it. He starts feeling it. It's really good theater performance. Actually, that's pretty much what it is. It's just theater performance on film and just in a remote cabin. It's actually pretty damn good. It's like, one-act play stuff. And that's actually kind of what this feels like. It feels like a giant one-act play. And then Fanny tells a story about a grandpa that seeks vengeance for his for a dog that passed away. And it's really, really good stuff. They tie in a few things where they're obviously smart to horror cliches, and I saw that in this, this is like that movie and that one wasn't all that good. They have disagreements, but they have a pretty good rapport. They start to have, not necessarily have the biggest feelings for each other, but have a camaraderie since they are both horror writers. And as things go on, it gets a little bit darker, and then we find out the intentions of one of the characters, even though it was very obvious, and there was, a clear, flashing sign, goddamn siren, that this was going, this character was going to do this. And I will say that the stories are actually pretty goddamn good. I wouldn't mind have actually seen this play out as an anthology and actually showing the stories play out as they happen, though that might have increased the budget way too damn much. Maybe they can do something like that down the road, Scare Me 2, Electric Boogaloo, and show the stories. But as far as an effective, scary movie, I wasn't necessarily like, holy shit, but, it had its jolts, and it had its good comedy moments, and the two lead actors in particular were really goddamn good. There is a pizza guy that comes along later that has, a pretty good bit part, supporting role, if you will. And then there's an Uber driver that has, a couple good scenes, though she isn't really around all that much. Everything is really wrapped up nicely, and it turns out that, hey, maybe you can take your stories too goddamn far. So, I do want to say right now, I am getting into spoilers, so do go see this movie. It's on Shudder. It's really goddamn good. As far as Shudder Originals, it's one of the best of the year by far. So anyway, spoilers, 3, 2, 1, and go. Spoilers, quick, 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 quick. Spoilers! Anyway, okay, so it turns out that Fanny has been writing down ideas and writing down stuff, in her notebook, and Fred's kind of wondering if he's writing stuff, or she's writing stuff about him. He's got his ideas, but he's, had a bit of a bad life. His wife left him. It turns out that they had a bit of an argument that she may have been cheating on him. And then maybe there was something else that he did that, gave her reason to want to leave him. And he tells that story on the porch and, talking about how, they threatened to kill each other and that he called her a whole bunch of times, but she wouldn't return his calls. There was another guy involved. And Fanny's got her story that sold well, but she's had other ideas stolen from her because she's a woman and a horror writer, so naturally that's going to happen earlier in the movie, in the very opening, Fred's being driven by this Uber driver, and she, is just driving him up there, and she talks about, wanting to write movies, wanting to write stuff and get on James Cameron's desk. And then during this whole thing of telling stories, the werewolf story is really good, the grandpa story is really good. There's a troll in the ceiling, because it's this bake shop, and this troll says, kill your boss, and, kiss me, and you can live 300 goddamn years. You can see everybody. And, they basically, that's a pretty damn good story. Fred's acting out as a troll, and the boss is a creep, so it works. And then the pizza guy interrupts because they ordered pizza, but then they forgot, it was going to take an hour because of the power outage. It's a perfect night to do it, perfect night to kill people, and he joins in on the story sharing, because fuck the job. And he literally is there 2 goddamn hours. She tells the story of her book Venus. It's about zombies and stuff like that, while on drugs. Everybody does cocaine, because why wouldn't a pizza boy on the clock do cocaine? And then we get the big talent show live. That's a big old singing thing. And let me tell you, I don't know if she was singing or somebody else was singing. If she's singing, that's goddamn good. Whoever did the singing, that was pretty fucking good. And the devil's possessed her, and she gets on a talent show. She'll, sell her what. I'm not going to say it, but she'll sell her what to get to have this talent show work and to become a successful singer. And then the audience, she vomits all over the audience, vomits. And everybody's creeped out. Well, then the pizza guy has to leave, while still coked up, even though, and he's drunk and coked up. It's really ridiculous. One more story. It's true to life. It's about a writer that is down on his luck. His wife left him, and he's not successful. And a girl who gets, has had it easy. And then a chase happens, because Fred decides to just fucking snap and turn the story to reality and basically chase her around with a fire poker that was introduced earlier. And he tells her, run, 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 and chasing her. And then they tumble down the stairs and he stabs himself. The fire poker falls on him. He says, finish me off. And then she leaves, and then he just dies basically there. And he says, before that, he says, you win. And then the ride shows up. She gets the notebook of, Fanny's notebook, and decides she's going to write her own thing. So she takes Fanny's ideas and writes her own stuff, which is all these ideas that they had been, telling before. So she writes a scary story thing, and she's a successful author, stealing ideas. And it's just pretty goddamn good. I really, really enjoyed this movie a lot, actually. It was very simple, effective, and with great, production values despite the low budget. And the lead acting by Josh and Aya those two were really good. The whole cast, the few people that were really fucking good. So I gotta say A-. It wasn't perfect. There were a few things. I think they stretched it out a little bit too much. Maybe you could have trimmed off a few minutes, but A- for sure. Agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. I'll see you soon.